Welcome to Life with Strings Attached. I'm your host, Jamie Gale. For this week's special biography edition of Life with Strings Attached, we're on location in Edmonton, Canada, to dive deep into the story of Dion James, an extraordinary guitar maker who's helping to redefine the modern acoustic guitar. Dion's journey began in rural Saskatchewan, where a deep-rooted culture of craftsmanship and resilience shaped the way he approaches creativity. From working the land to building some of the most refined steel string guitars in the world, Dion's path is marked by grit, artistic clarity, and an unwavering commitment to simplicity and quality. In this episode, Dion opens up about formative moments, the mentors who shaped him, and the subtle power of saying, "I can't." This is a portrait of a maker guided by intention, community, and the rhythm of real life. It was an honor to share this time with Dion James, and I hope that you enjoyed as much as I did. Thanks for hosting me here.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
So, I would like to capture your story. Just the moments that if maybe they didn't happen, you'd be doing something different than you're doing today.
Sure.
And so, but from the beginning, where you were born,
Okay.
what year, who you are,
Yeah.
what clearly godlike parents birthed such a gorgeous
Of course, yes.
young man. Yeah.
Yeah. They're wonderful people. They are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was born in a very small town in rural Saskatchewan.
who was born in a very small town?
Myself, Dion James, to wonderful parents in 1982. The town is very much part of where I became, how I became a craftsperson, but also had the desire for the autonomous life that I now lead. Town is small, 500 people, and I'm not that old, but old enough that there wasn't cable television there. Certainly wasn't the internet yet. Life was slow, and I knew everybody in town. My extended family all lived there, so I felt very supported as a young person to do as I wanted to do. And we're farmers, so I grew up working with tools and setting your own hours, but knowing the work has to be done. So very, those years in that place very much informed who I've become. My family and I moved to Saskatoon in 91. We'd expanded the farm to accommodate the next generation, which would have been my dad and my uncle, at the same time as we were in a 10-year drought. So just before, farming had been really, really good in the late 70s. Mm-hmm. So we expanded the farm. It didn't rain for close to a decade in any meaningful way. Mm-hmm. And interest rates were as high as they've ever been, very high. So we actually lost the farm, our house, everything, and we moved to Saskatoon. My dad, being very motivated and capable, moved us to Saskatoon, where he took on the managerial position of a fertilizer chemical dealership in agriculture still. And from that point, he really worked to get us back to the farm. And so we were there for maybe 3 years, and then we moved to a slightly larger town, still just as close to the farm, but a town of 5,000 people called Kindersley. And my dad started his own chemical fertilizer dealership there and began buying the farmland back and once again became a farmer. Mm-hmm. So it was modeled for me all along to work with what you have, but go after what you want, and to make things with your hands. Both my parents, my mother, is a craftsperson. She makes everything from Ukrainian Easter eggs to straw weavings to furniture she just makes everything. Mm-hmm. So there's always, as a kid, we would sit around on a Friday evening and maybe watch a movie and knit, and make Ukrainian Easter eggs. And so making things has just always been I didn't even know it was such a part of my life because it was such a part of my life. So that puts us back in the small town again. At that point, I'm just a, preteen and teenager, into skateboarding and snowboarding. I played hockey quite competitively and baseball, and still was always fiddling around with things. Always fiddling around with things. But again, didn't really know that it was a defining feature of my personality. I went to university for a while, 3 years. Decided that was not my bag. Moved to the mountains and snowboarded for a while. And I was back home because through all of these years as an adult, I'd come back and work on the farm for the spring planting and the fall harvesting. So we're grain farmers, so it's large scale. Our farm ranged between, when I was younger, maybe 2,000 acres, to when I was older, 6,000 acres. Large scale equipment, by the end GPS driven. So I'd come back in the spring and the fall to help finance whatever life I was living at that time, and have other jobs to fill in the gaps. I had just started getting into guitar playing when I was in my early 20s, after I'd finished up a season in the mountains. And I was home, and one of my best friends happened to be home as well, home as in our hometown. And he had this old guitar that he wanted to take the paint off. His dad had painted it silver at some point in its existence. And so we thought, well, let's take the paint off, and we imagined some sort of beautiful wood structure, wood grain underneath. So he came to my house because we have a wood shop, and I'm always taking stuff apart. So we took the neck off. I don't even recall what that involved, but it was off. And then we went to strip the silver paint off. And when we got through it, the sides were very cheap plywood. And I thought, well, it's fine. It looks okay. We'll put oil on it. We got to the top, and it looked like what I now know is spruce, but it was actually a plastic veneer of spruce-like pattern over wood. And so I thought, well, this project isn't that fun anymore. Let's do something. Let's build a guitar. I thought there must be people who make these things. And at that point in rural Saskatchewan, the internet was not easily accessible, and it was slow. It was dial-up. So it wasn't really a part of my life. But I did know it existed, and we had it in the house. So I told my family I was going to use the internet because, of course, it ties up the phone at that point. And I did an Ask Jeeves search, which was the search engine at that point. And David Freeman's course came up at Timeless Instruments in Tegasky, Saskatchewan. So I thought I was looking for a kit, something we can build. And he sells kits, or he sold them then, and also offered a 7-week immersive guitar building experience. And because I was finished with my foray into university, I'd done a lot of other things. I was sort of looking for a direction ahead. I had the fall open, and I signed up for a course right away with David. I went, and that was in 2004, I guess. So in December of 2004, I had finished building my first guitar, had zero idea that there was a career, that anybody had a career in it, outside of teaching to hobbyists. I didn't spend any time on the internet, so I didn't know there was other makers. I didn't know there was people playing handmade guitars. I didn't know it was a thing, but it became the thing I liked to do. And so I bought wood from David when I left, and my parents, my dad being ever supportive, and my parents both being ever supportive. My dad built me a workbench in their workshop, and set up lights for me, and bought me a router, and the chisels I still use. And I set to building guitars again. And they were really, really bad. There's nothing to look up. How do you get the neck angle? All these things. I had nothing to reference except one book and a long distance call to David sometimes. So of course that's a defining moment. Just that chance, encounter with David's school. It was a great experience for a lot of reasons. David's an interesting person, and I got the bug, for building guitars. And so I built a few more in my parents' workshop. I was playing a bit of music with some friends, and we were all living in an old farmhouse outside of the small town I lived in. Old enough that it was heated by diesel fuel still, so you have to get someone to come fill your tank out back, and you have to come get someone to drain this, sewage and bring in water for you. We had our whole house set up for playing music in, except our bedrooms, and it was a really, really nice time. Both of my friends had been through university and completed degrees already. But at a certain point, socially speaking, we'd get sick of each other. We're in the house together, although we deeply love each other and are still best friends. And we'd head into town to escape the monotony of our dwelling. And we'd find that the conversations we were having at the local establishments weren't that satisfying, and would be very quickly back in the car, back to our house, and be kind of renewed with some vigor. So eventually we decided, all of us in our own ways, to split and go, not split up, but split town, leave and go find things. So one of my friends went to the Czech Republic, one of them went to Montreal. I had a very good friend who lived in Edmonton, and so I came here. And in my mind, at that point, I was going to a big city and I was going to meet guitar makers. I didn't know anything about it, but hopefully I was going to meet some guitar makers.
Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop is your premier fretted instrument custom case maker, and we invite you to create a musical instrument case unlike any other, one that's unique to you. Every Cedar Creek custom case is hand-built by highly skilled craftspeople using only select woods, Providence Forge hardware, and premium instrument-friendly materials. At Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop, we are dedicated to helping you design the case of your dreams. Find out more at cedarcreekcases.com. Are you serious about the business of guitar? Then you need to join us on Patreon. We're building a future where guitar makers are able to live prosperous lives, making instruments that inspire the musical experience, which helps to create a more beautiful world. Where others who are passionate about the guitar can thrive, those who help in the promotion and resale, trade shows, writing of books and articles are supported as a valuable part of the community. A community where we explore with curiosity and encourage those around us in their endeavors. With a community effort, we can accomplish far more than we can individually. So let's be serious about your guitar business and join us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Jamie Gale Music. We are better together, so let's do this together. I love where we've been, and I'm excited about where we're going. This space is normally reserved for brands who make stories like this possible, like the Dario and the Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop. If your company belongs in this conversation, let's talk. We partner with brands who value craft, culture, and the quiet power of a well-placed idea. This is what year?
I don't see the world in a very linear fashion. Oh boy. Oh wow. I wish Aaron was here to ask. 2008, maybe?
Yeah.
7, 8.
Mm-hmm. That's when the world economy crashed in May of 2008.
Which I would have been kind of oblivious to, because that's not where my head's at. Yeah, so I arrived in Edmonton. I was a landscaper for the summer, drove a skid steer, worked in new developments, but I desired to meet interesting people. And so I very intentionally shopped around. I thought, I'll be a server. I'll meet interesting people. So I shopped around for places that had good music, interesting looking people, whatever that means, and nice sunlight. And I landed on this place called the Sugar Bowl in Edmonton, where I met Aaron, who is now my partner and has been for 17 years. So I guess that gives us a sense of time. And we were best friends right off the bat. And I didn't meet guitar makers, though I met the people who work at guitar shops and did my best that way. Borrowed some tools from them, built some guitars in my garage and my basement, the rental I was in. And within months of dating Erin, I asked her, well, if we're still dating in 6 months, do you want to move to Montreal? My friend that had gone to the Czech Republic was now in Montreal. Of course, the one who had moved there initially was there. And I said, let's go to Montreal. And she was interested. So in January of the following year, we packed up and drove across the country to Montreal with 5 bikes strapped to the roof, sideways and everywhere, and records and things not in boxes, and just, in the moment at the time. Got to Montreal. I didn't have a real plan. But just thought it's a bigger city, and my friends are there, and I'm young, and I'm going to go do this. I'm 26 at the time. So we get there, it's blizzarding. My friend comes out and shovels a space for us to park our car, and we park the car. And we go about living our life and are both in love with each other and in love with the city. Montreal's an amazing place. And within a few weeks of being there, my friend's girlfriend at the time, who was from the Czech Republic, saw that there was this event going on, Nuit Blanche, where artists and craftspeople open up their studio spaces. And she saw that guitar makers had their space open. So this was Jeremy Clark of 52 Instruments and Mike Kennedy of Michael Kennedy Guitars. They had just finished their apprenticeship with Sergey DeYoung, and had just finished. They were there for 3 years, I believe, in Chelsea with Sergey, and had got a place in Mile End in the old textile district. And it was bare bones. It was the two of them, and they were having this party. So they had a blog at the time called While the Glue Dries, and we looked at it, and my partner Erin and I, and they had talked about having 14-foot benches and room to share, and I just thought, how did this happen? I've landed in this city, and there's guitar makers here, So we went to the party, had a great time. I met Jeremy and Mike. At the time, I was working at an oat packaging plant to bring in some money, and I brought them. We went to the party, had a great time with them. I expressed desire to come see them next week. I came by with a bag of groats, oats that are not rolled, because I just thought that's what I deal in these days, oats. Turns out they're both very into good food, and we're both vegetarians at the time, and so they were really excited about this bag of oats. And I moved in pretty quickly after that. And it wasn't a situation where I wasn't working for them, and they weren't directly hovering over my bench to make sure every move was correct in a mentorship sort of way, but they very much were mentors, and they just opened their books and became the everyday part of my life. And I met the whole world that revolves around Sergey DeYoung, and I went to Sergey's birthday party and became a guitar maker, and realized there was a world of people making a living at this. I applied for and got a grant, which allowed me to stop packaging oats and build guitars for an entire year, and that was really where things took off. So another defining moment. Yeah.
Quebec Arts Council grant or something of the sort?
It was a small business grant, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But from the government.
Yeah, from the government. Yeah. And that, coupled with the fact that it's just, I know it's rising, but it's still much more affordable to live in Montreal than it is to live in Edmonton, for example. You can live and get studio space, and those things combined with my past really allowed me to become a guitar maker, or at least aim towards it. Yeah. So Erin and I lived there for, again, I don't remember things this way, but I think Erin was there maybe for 2 years, and then she came back to Edmonton to do her master's degree, and I stayed for another year, a year and a half, to kind of get where I wanted to be with my work. And Erin's family is from Edmonton, and my family is from Saskatchewan, so it made sense to come back this way. So eventually I got back here. I set up along with another guy, an artist collective. We had 23 people, shoemakers, bicycle frame makers, theater makeup, with a dark room. I built guitars there. Ran that for 5 years, and then started this workspace with Layla Sidi of Tunatone Instruments. At that point, she was just Layla Sidi. I taught her how to build guitars here in this space, and Adam Turley, who I also taught how to build guitars. And I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, but you know, that I felt like the pot had been inoculated.
Yeah.
And from there I met people and started to sell guitars and got invited to shows, which got me invited to more shows, and including Boutique Guitar Showcase Tour, these sorts of things that slowly but surely built a career on top of the day in and day out work of becoming a guitar maker. Yeah.
Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop is your premier fretted instrument custom case maker, and we invite you to create a musical instrument case unlike any other, one that's unique to you. Every Cedar Creek custom case is hand-built by highly skilled craftspeople using only select woods, Providence Forge hardware, and premium instrument-friendly materials. At Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop, we are dedicated to helping you design the case of your dreams. Find out more at cedarcreekcases.com. Are you serious about the business of guitar? Then you need to join us on Patreon. We're building a future where guitar makers are able to live prosperous lives making instruments that inspire the musical experience, which helps to create a more beautiful world. Where others who are passionate about the guitar can thrive, those who help in the promotion and resale, trade shows, writing of books and articles are supported as a valuable part of the community. A community where we explore with curiosity and encourage those around us in their endeavors. With a community effort, we can accomplish far more than we can individually. So let's be serious about your guitar business and join us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Jamie Gale Music. We are better together, so let's do this together. I love where we've been, and I'm excited about where we're going. This space is normally reserved for brands who make stories like this possible, like the Dario and the Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop. If your company belongs in this conversation, let's talk. We partner with brands who value craft, culture, and the quiet power of a well-placed idea.
Is there a moment or two where you sort of realize you had tipped over? Like there's making guitars, and then there's you're recognized on a global scale as that's a different level, right? And you start to get the attention from the global dealer network, the global shows, it's a different level of business.
Yeah.
When did that happen for you, and or can you look back at a particular client or a sale and tie that into one other question? When did it become what we would now recognize as a Dion guitar?
Yeah.
So this business, when does this, what we recognize as Dion James and
yeah. So that's sort of, to me, a two-part question. So in terms of the work and recognizing that I'm part of the sort of widespread but quite small international world of handmade guitars, especially if you're talking about, handmade steel string guitars, I think it's still a daily sort of pinch me thing. I have all of these dealers and I have guitars to build, and I get to work with, and my friends are some of the best guitar makers in the world, and still I can't really see it or feel it that way. I just am excited about making guitars and making things in general, and I'm thinking about how to improve upon what I do already. But I would say that like maybe when I don't know when I realized that I was at that point. I can be blind to that while super sensitive to everything else around me. Yeah. But when I think about when my guitars looked like I wanted them to look, and there's a caveat, which is that they never look exactly how you want them to look. There's always when you achieve a goal, the detail just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to where no one else can see it, but you have things you always want to work on. But when I felt like, okay, wow, this is a thing, would have been about 2017 or 18. I had built this bird's eye maple guitar with a black neck and black binding and a bird's eye maple fingerboard and head veneer, and I felt like this is out there and recognizable and looks like what I set out to make it look like.
Yeah.
Sort of the first time I felt like the idea came in through, and then it came out and it looked like it.
I'm pretty sure that's the first guitar I saw of yours.
I think it is, yeah.
That's when we met. That's when you got my attention.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think actually that was the second one I made just like it, because that one got me so much attention. And I thought, well, now I need to refine this a bit more. But that guitar got me into dream guitars. That's when I met you, and meeting you and Roberta and your family and Boutique Guitar Showcase tour has opened a lot of doors for me with dealers and just helping to put my work out into the world. So I guess, maybe 2017, 2018 is when I felt like I'm a guitar maker. I can say I'm a guitar maker. I do this, confidently do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that you think is an important part of the narrative?
Yeah. So I guess there's a thread that runs through everything for me, which is agriculture. I manage a 2-acre charity garden on the University South Campus here in Edmonton. I'm a volunteer, but I put in over 1,000 hours a year at it, as do many other people, to make this thing run. We sell our produce, and 100% of our proceeds go to a women's group in Rwanda. We make $40,000 a year so in produce. That's a major part of my life, and I would say feeds right back into guitar making. I think that for a mind that's extremely focused on something, as mine is, you need space away for it to let some of the friction out so that the ideas can come through more clearly, and the garden is very much that. And of course, the most important thing in my entire life is my children, who've come along in the last 5 and 2.5 years. And so while my guitar production has gone down during that time, and will go back up as they get older, I wouldn't change anything. That's what I want to do, is be with them and my partner and make enough guitars to stay relevant and keep my lights on. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
You've been listening to Life with Strings Attached. If today's conversation meant something to you, consider passing it on. These stories find their place through the people who share them. A new episode comes out every Friday, right here, wherever you're listening. I'm Jamie Gale, and thanks for listening to Life with Strings Attached.